Malaysia is a beautiful country consisting of diverse flora and fauna. It has some of the world's oldest rainforests, which is home to many local and international bird species. These birds are important to continue the ecological circle, not just in the food chain, but for plant distribution as well. Birds have a good system for spreading seeds as their feces provide good fertilization for the seeds to grow when they are dropped on the soils. However, Malaysia is ranked among the top 20 countries globally with the highest number of globally threatened birds, many of which are forest dependent. Many of these rainforests are being destroyed rapidly as a result of overdevelopment and forest fires, and what was once a home to these birds is now a land of skyscrapers. These birds have lost their natural habitat and breeding grounds and a place to roam freely, causing them to die and in some cases, come close to extinction. Moreover, many of these birds become mere pictures rather than real-life exhibits for the future generation to see. However, there is still hope. Places such as the KL Bird Park, the world's largest walk-in aviary, is one of the works to preserve many of these local and international bird species that have lost their homes and need a space to grow once more. But is it a good enough effort to preserve these endangered wildlife?
Well, especially since I moved to Australia, I gained an appreciation for parrots and all the different types of bird species that are around. And there are some from Canada that I also miss, so I like to see the different types of birds.
I see.
And this was the biggest one, I think. And I guess where the birds were raised, right? If they've always been in captivity, you can't really release them. So I'm not quite aware, because I just arrived this morning, of what their conservation politics are. But for sure, if they're trying to help endangered species, that's always a good thing.
Most development projects take place at areas rich in flora and fauna, where birds come and go freely. But with these projects going on, they don't have as many places to migrate or stop by, preventing them from having rest and breeding. But here at the KL Bird Park, they allow the birds to roam freely as well as keep some of them in cages that are big enough for them to fly about. These birds in the cages are those that are territorial and are endangered. These cages are an effort to protect the species such as parakeets, cockatoos, and even the national bird, the rhinoceros hornbill.
I think, like for example, Malaysia have a very high rate of deforestation. In the deforestation, a lot of habitats are destroyed, alright, including birds' habitats. So now we're in Jita Mall. It used to be a lake. You know, and there's many birds who comes here, even migrating bird comes here, and and rest here for a while before they continue their migration. So in the deforestation, many birds are affected, and I would say that places like KL Bird Park is good because it preserves the species, it preserves the birds to a certain extent.
Alright, so here behind me I have a bunch of flamingos of different varieties. If we want to know why the flamingo is actually pink in color, it's due to the carotenoid pigments that they obtain from their diet. So basically, we always wonder, with the large beaks that they have, what do they eat? So they feed on small animals such as shrimps, insects, mollusks, shellfish basically, and even larvae. And their natural habitat, like behind me you see now, is just a replica of what it would be in a real rainforest. So it's basically a shallow lake, a salt lake lagoon, where there's mud and water for them to refresh themselves, and also to just, that's how they stay in natural habitat. So yeah. So what are your opinions about this place? Do you think it's a good environment to keep the species alive? Or do you think that the birds are better off roaming free in their natural habitats like a forest or a jungle?
Well, I think it's better for birds to be kept like this so that the generation of children to come can actually see the species that are actually in the country. Because the rainforests are getting all knocked down.
And all countries, because it's all different varieties of birds here, so it's really good.
I think, for my opinion, I think it's better for the bird to live in their own natural environment. Because we can't control them. Okay, because bird is naturally, they can fly anywhere they want, they can eat anywhere that the food they want. Their habit supposed to be they have their own natural way. We cannot control them. That's only that.
Since 1967, the average population of the common birds in steepest decline has fallen by 68%. Some individual species nosedive as much as 80%. All 20 birds on the National Common Birds in Decline list lost at least half their populations in just 4 decades. Populations of meadowlarks and other farmland birds are diving because of suburban sprawl, industrial development, and the intensification of farming over the past 50 years. There are a number of solutions to preserving bird species, and among them are advocating for the protection and/or conservation of key bird habitats or sites, engaging relevant federal and state ministries and government agencies on policy matters or issues affecting birds and deforestation, monitoring selected bird groups such as migratory raptors, common birds, hornbills, and water birds annually using the citizen science approach. Also, conducting bird-related CEPA, otherwise known as communication, education, participation, and awareness activities. And finally, conduct targeted long-term field research and conservation actions on priority bird groups in key sites such as hornbills in Belum Temanggung Forest Complex. But even with solutions, there are still those who prefer the birds to be free.